That was one of the two things that changed my my whole direction and made me successful. I can explain it if you want.
Please.
1979 and 80, I had calculated that American banks had lent more money to foreign countries that they were going to be able to pay back and that we were going to have a debt crisis. Very controversial point of view. In August of 1982, Mexico defaulted on its debts. And over the next decade, many other countries did, and it caused bank problems. However, at that time, I thought things were going to get bad, and that was the exact bottom in the stock market, August 1982. So I couldn't have been more wrong. I lost money for me. I lost money for the clients. I lost money. I was so broke that I had to borrow $4,000 from my dad to help to pay for family bills because I was faced with the choice. What am I going to do? And do I go back to work on Wall Street, get a tie, get on the train, and go back to that, which is, again, not in my nature or whatever. And two things changed me. Okay, reflection. First of all, I learned what we were just talking about. I learned humility and fear of being wrong and open-mindedness. So I wanted the smartest people I could find to stress test my opinions, because I always realized I could be wrong. And then I learned how to diversify my bets so that I could dramatically reduce my risk without reducing my returns. Okay, that was the bottom. Okay, from that point all the way over, that following those principles took me to the biggest hedge fund in the world, the most successful, and so on, because I applied it to the markets, applied it to what we did, and so on. So that notion of reflection, and then how do you deal with what reality is like, and then, learn radical open-mindedness. In other words, like there's a principle in the book, you have to take in before you put out, or that decision-making is a two-step process. First take in, then decide. Okay? So yes, open-mindedness doesn't in any way minimize your ability to decide. So you still have the freedom to decide, but it's crazy not to be open-minded.
You recognize that the biggest threat to good decision-making is harmful emotions, and that two-step process is first learn and then make the decision, which is funny because it sounds simple. But when you said it, I think about all the worst decisions I've ever made in business, and I missed step one. I forgot to take a minute and do the evidence gathering or the information gathering process.
Yeah, just smart people who care about your decision say, stress test me.
Why don't we do that?
That ego and also instinct that's a fight.
Is there any advice you would give me on becoming a better decision maker? So I have a fund, I have many businesses. Is there any sort of practical, simple foundations of becoming a better decision maker that we haven't talked about? Get smart people to interrogate my thinking. Be open-minded.
I think we've talked about almost all of them. I think then you have to then know about how to leverage yourself. Okay? In other words, as you do more and more, how do you do more and more when your brain has a capacity limit? Okay? And there's only a certain number of hours in the day or the week. Okay? You have to know how to do that.
Is that focus or is that something?
No. It's knowing how to do it through others. Okay? It's knowing how to pick others and orchestrate well. It's like running a symphony or whatever. Okay? Get the best players. Okay? When I say, good character and good capabilities, and orchestrate them well. And then provide that leverage. Like when I was doing the most, I had 30 direct reports. Whatever the number is, it's always, the process is how to get more out of a minute or a day, not how to work harder. Okay, it's how to leverage yourself. And you're going to leverage yourself by picking the right people who you can trust. They're not going to screw you. They're going to operate in your interest, and they're going to be capable. And so a lot of people, what you can do is you can deal with them, and then you can say, like, I would deal with them on this 30 reports. I'd have maybe an hour meeting with them once every 2 weeks. And they go off and do things. And when you do that, you can even find people who are much better at things than you would be if you did them. Because if you have these different things, okay, you better, because otherwise you don't have the capacity.
You have these two key challenges to overcome as an entrepreneur, which is find these great, capable people that have great character, and then like bind them with the right culture to make sure that they do the best work.
Right. And in other words, it's meaningful work and meaningful relationships through radical truthfulness and radical transparency.
Radical truthfulness and transparency.
Okay. First, if you can have meaningful work and meaningful relationships, the people are on the mission with you. Wow, that's fantastic. But you better be truthful and transparent. That'll show that you're honest, and you better, because you have to get a truth, including what people are bad at and how to deal with all those things. And most people hide them. They don't bring them out into the open. Okay, everybody's worried about hurting each other's feelings or, that. And then so they're not honest with each other. And that's the barrier. We talked about the barrier of disagreement. It's like that. Okay, I don't know. Are you good at that? Are you striking out? If you're striking out, and what is it? How do we deal with it? You better talk about that clearly, because you need to have an A team of players. You have to work yourself so your team is an A team of players who are tight.
How did you do that at Bridgewater? How did you make people honest?
Oh, well, first of all, I had a policy: talk behind another person's back critically. If that happens 3 times, you're out. And then I would have radical transparency so everybody could see everything. So you could see why I'm making decisions, and I would reflect.